this is how to create a good habit. These are his 4 laws to making a good habit. Law number 1, make it obvious. Law number 2, make it attractive. Law number 3, make it easy. And law number 4, make it satisfying. So with all of these, he talks about different ways for you to kind of make it easier, better, and more likely for you to follow your habits, or the habits you want to do, especially for a good habit. And part of that is just like you said, make it obvious. Design your environment to make the cues more obvious and visible. If you can't see it, you're not going to do it. Like implementations, habit stacking, like that's all to make it obvious. Make it very aware of what it is you're trying to do, and go from there. Another thing to make it easier for you to do is make it attractive. Use temptation bundling. Pair an action you want to do with an action you need to do. So let's see, like one thing for me I feel like I'm gonna try doing as making it an actual habit is like I like watching YouTube, or I like watching movies or listening to podcasts, but I've developed a habit in particular with a podcast that I can't just sit there and listen to a podcast. I have to do something, because I listen to podcasts at work, so it kind of weaved its way into just how I listen to podcasts. I have to be doing something, driving, working, something. So it's probably a good thing, because I'm going to try implementing that with how I keep my house clean. I'm going to start listening to a podcast or watching a video. Why? And the only time I can, I need to implement that a little better, I'll be honest. But this is the first week of trying to use some of these techniques to put them into my life. Is like to do that, and then when I'm doing those things, listening to the podcast, watching a video, I work on doing the dishes or stuff like that. Just like, or I fold clothes, or I just little stuff like that, or I just clean. Like on the weekends, I listen to a podcast and clean up around the house for an hour. Like just like little stuff like that kind of makes things more attractive to you, because it's like, well, if I start cleaning, I can listen to the podcast. And for me, that definitely would work to an extent. I typically don't want to clean, but I'm trying to change. That's all that's important. And one of the reasons why with the podcast, I feel weird listening to a podcast, especially if there's no visual cue to just sit there, because I feel like I need to do something. And part of that is just from doing it at work. If there's a visual cue, I won't be as likely to get up and do something with my hands or do something else. So there's just ways you kind of got to look at yourself and figure out what works best for you. But another one when it comes to make it more attractive is join a culture where your desired behavior is normal. So if you live in an area where people aren't necessarily super healthy or fit, or your family's portraying a habit you don't want, try to get into a different group. So it's kind of like the same thing as, which is probably a good thing. Like cliques in high school, you got like the jocks, you got the cheerleaders, you got this and that. It makes sense. The nerds, yeah, they're the people you want to be around, but it's not the people you necessarily want to be. Because no offense to people that were nerdy, I was kind of nerdy, but at the same time, those people don't prioritize health and fitness and certain things. Where when you have a bunch of people that prioritize exercise, looking good, feeling healthy, and let's say being a part of some sport, it makes a community of people that prioritize the same thing. So it makes it easy for you to keep to those goals or standards to keep going. So it's kind of that same thing. So it's like same with working out. If you work out on your own, that's one thing. But if you work out with a group of people or around a group of people that all work out at a gym, it kind of builds a different form of connection that you have with that task or habit. Another one is create a motivation ritual, like do something you enjoy immediately before a difficult task. So, example, my brain, I can't think of one. I don't know, um, it, like take a, well, before, mm, I think you could do it either way, because I think it's kind of the same thing. Like if you do an exercise, or do a lot of exercise and do good for the week, some people will say, oh, well, that means I deserve to eat ice cream or this and that. And it gives you that motivation, but for the wrong thing, because it kind of puts a vote in for two different identities. Do you want to be healthy, or do you want to be overweight and eat desserts all the time? So it kind of puts you in two different paths to what you want to do. But if you take that same thing and it's like, after a week of sticking to my diet, working out every day, or whatever it is you tried setting for yourself, you go get a massage, or you go have a nice bubble bath, or something you really enjoy. It's a way to kind of make those goals more attractive for you, or for you to stick to. And then another one, make it easy. The third law. People think that making things lazy or easier for you to do is bad, and that's not something you should do. You should force yourself to do something that's hard. And it's like, yes, pushing yourself is good, but the human mind is constructed to make easy things the thing you want to do. Like, that's the whole reason habits and routine have become a thing, is it's things that you have done over and over again that has allowed your brain to make that habit or routine more automatic, where it takes less energy for you to do it and less thought to use somewhere else. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, especially if it's something good. If, like I said, if it's putting something you need to do closer to something else, or more easily to use. Like let me use an example. He talks about this in the book, where he used to put his apples, and I've done the exact same thing, in the crisper drawer of your fridge. And him and myself never ate them. And part of that is you never saw them. And it's not like it's super hard to open up your fridge and open up the drawer and grab one. It's still pretty easy. But just not seeing it, and it not being as easy as just grabbing it, you don't know it's there, you forget about it, and then you gotta throw them away, and you never eat them. So he decided to get a display bowl and put all his apples in there. And that just gave him the ability to see it every day, and just to be able to use that and grab it immediately. So it's trying to create something that just makes it easier. So part of that is reduce friction, decrease the number of steps between you and your good habits. Prime your environment and prepare your environment to make good future actions easier. So like the thing with the apples, let's say. Or master the decisive moment. Optimize the small choices that deliver outsized impacts. It's all about making those small choices every day to slowly be more positive towards what you want to do. Because like he said at the beginning, it's about building that over and over again and compounding it to make it more worthwhile. Or something that's really easy is use the 2% or 2%. Use the 2-minute rule. Downscale your habits into something that can be done in 2 minutes or less. Like he talked about people that are trying to run more. Like, put your shoes on, your running shoes on. That's it. Do little habits. Like, I've both read and heard a story similar to what he said in his book. And it was someone went to a gym for like 2 or 5 minutes, never worked out for almost a month, just went to the gym after work or whenever it was. And eventually it became so normal and such a routine to go to the gym that at one point all he had to do was be like, well, I'm already here. I drive here and go here every day. Might as well start picking up some weights and working out. So it slowly it's about making those habits so normal that you're already doing the beginning stages of whatever it is. You might as well keep working towards it. but it's just kind of building that routine in your head to make it easier for you over time. Or automate your habits, invest in technology and one-time purchases that unlock or that lock in future behavior. So I'm trying to remember what he uses for an example on that one. Oh, I really don't know, but it's like you use some sort of technology as some sort of reminder, or something that helps keep track of certain things. So just checking in on stuff will kind of give you that. Like let's say you have a Fitbit or something and you kind of see some of your stats. Just something like that that helps track your progression makes it easier for you to see things and keep you motivated to keep doing certain habits. And another one, the fourth law, make it satisfying. Use reinforcement. Give yourself an immediate reward when you complete your habit. So you're going to have some sort of reward no matter what. Some of it can be psychological or how you feel or certain things just from doing certain stuff. But sometimes you got to give yourself some little reward. It doesn't mean it should be something like I said earlier, oh, I just worked out, let's go get a donut. But it should be something that you enjoy that kind of connects that reward to that habit that just gives you more motivation to do it. It's all about just kind of keeping you online to just keep doing those things. Make doing nothing enjoyable. When avoiding a bad habit, designed a way to see the benefits. When avoiding a bad habit, design a way to see the benefits. So part of the thing he talks about, especially with people that are super, super successful, it's like you got to get used to doing the boring stuff that over time will create amazing results. And part of the thing he talks about is like there's a difference between action and prevention. He said the worst thing with procrastination is you think you got to be perfect in what you start. And I 100% admit that I do this all the time with certain things. And part of it is you just got to start doing it. And some of those things I'm going to implement with this podcast in general, or content with this podcast. Kind of like last week. I think there's times that I need to make a podcast perfect and plan it out. But when it comes down to it, it doesn't have to be that way. Last week I had no idea what I was going to talk about. Now, was it the best podcast ever? No, but that's fine. I just did it. It's just being there and being it's just doing it. Like being repetitive is what's good, because over time you'll learn and grow from the amount of stuff you do. If you just sit there and you want to make something perfect, it makes you procrastinate because it gives you a reason never to start. But if you just start and try and slowly but surely just repetitively do it over and over again, even if it's not that good, over time you'll learn to make it better. And that's kind of the thing I'm going to try doing with the Instagram. It's like at one point I don't got to worry about what we post when it comes to doing stuff for the Instagram. I don't need to make it perfect. I don't need to make it amazing. As long as I start the habit of maybe posting every day and doing something, it's getting that into momentum to slowly just make it easier and better at doing everything. So it's just that kind of thing. There's just little stuff you can do that just kind of builds over time. Okay, so another way to make it satisfying, use a habit tracker. Keep track of your habit streak and don't break the chain. One of the things I guess he kind of talks about this too, is I'll just go ahead and read it off now. Never miss twice. When you forget to do a habit, make sure you get back on track immediately. So if you miss one day, don't miss the second day. I know I've made those mistakes. Like I missed on one habit I'm trying to do yesterday. I have to make sure I do it today. So there's little things that it's like just make sure you keep progressing. And part of it is just doing it. Just having action to start doing something is better than not doing it at all. So don't worry about trying to make things perfect. Just keep working. And that's like the great thing about life is the earlier you start these things, it's not going to be great when you first start, but 10, 15 years down the road, it's going to have such a major impact depending on what it is you're trying to implement to be a part of you or identify with, that it just has such an amazing impact on your life. And you won't realize it now, but you'll see it 15 years from now. So it's stuff like that.